So this video is obviously going to be a lot different than my usual videos on health and whatnot, but it's whatever, it's my channel and I feel like most people really enjoy the raw and uncut, just authentic flow that a lot of my videos have. And so that's exactly what you're going to get, and regardless, you know, whatever. So, the last couple months, my life has been changing a lot, and it seems almost as if the universe is organizing my life in a way. I do actually feel that that's kind of what the universe tends to do in pretty much everybody's life, but I've definitely seen it in my own. A lot of times, good things come in tragedies, or good things come wrapped up in a little packaging that looks like a negative on the outside, but in reality it's actually a very positive thing if you open up that negative packaging and really fully experience and embrace whatever it is inside of that apparent negativity. For example, a lot of times people might have a conflict with their friends, or they may have a really bad breakup with a girlfriend. These are very common ways in which it is presented. And on one side of the token, you can look at it and say, damn it, I really love that girl, or damn it, she was the best girlfriend ever. Or you might lose it, but at the other side of the token, it might actually be for the greatest, best that can possibly happen to you at the moment. Maybe the universe is trying to remove a person from your life that doesn't belong, and trying to teach you, trying to show you the way, trying to let space appear for in your life so that you can focus more on bigger and better things. And I mean in the fullest sense. I don't just mean I'm bigger and better things, to make you feel better about yourself. I actually mean the universe is removing this person from your life for the greater good, so that you can actually have even greater happiness. It's just a matter of seeing that opening, seeing what the universe is doing, seeing what is presenting itself, and trying to look for the possibility that that's what's actually happening, versus crying and being sad and about it, and thinking that your life is going downhill. You should actually try to see if maybe things are actually getting better, and that actually is happening for a good cause, and there's a lot of good behind it. Another common scenario would be somebody who has been a manager, or let's just say somebody's been making $80,000 a year at a job, and they've had this job for 10 years, and they've been doing really, really, really good with it. They have a great business going, making tons of money, and then all of a sudden the universe is like, hey, or just in reality they lose a job, right? And they're like, oh fuck, what the hell, and they can't believe it, and they're trying really hard to get back what they had, just like with girlfriends, trying really hard to get that relationship back. You miss your ex and you're calling them all the time, but the ex is just not having it. Same thing with losing a job. It's I need that, I'm trying to get the job back, and feeling oh, I'm a loser now, I lost my business or whatever, trying to pick up the pieces, but it's just crumbled before your eyes and there's no chance of you going back. On one side of the token, it might be for the better. Maybe you need to lose this business to get something better. Maybe you need to lose the ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend, ex-partner, in order to get something better. Maybe there's a reason behind it. Maybe it's for the better. But on the other side of the token, a lot of people seem to be so attached to what they've been familiar with. They've been so attached to that relationship they've been in for so long. They've been so attached to that job they've been in for so long that they can't let it go. And because they can't let it go, they're not allowing the energy to free up. They're not allowing the new, beautiful positives to blossom. And so they end up being worse than what they would have been otherwise. They end up going in a downward spiral. Not because they lost their job or their business, not because they lost their relationship, but because they're so attached to what was, and they're not embracing what's happening now. And I do feel like this is a very important thing to look at. And I feel like it's a very realistic and practical and actual thing that's happening every single day. And I feel like there's two paths to take when something of this nature happens. When you lose something, you can't just be attached to that. When you lose something, if you get in a car accident and your car is totaled, you can't just be like you're going to get nowhere just wishing that would have never happened, because it already did. You can't get anywhere wishing that that you could get your car back, or dwelling on it, crying over the past. If somebody really important to you dies, there's nothing good's going to come over grieving about it, other than emotional catharsis and letting those emotions out. You got to relieve those emotions, obviously. You can't just pretend you're not sad. But there comes a point where you've got to move on. You have to evolve. You have to understand that that's everything that reality is. Life is infinitely infinite. That's the nature of reality. If there is a God, it's evolution. Okay? And I don't mean that in a biological sense. I mean literally the only fact in life is that everything is always changing. The only thing that does not change is that everything is always changing. And there's nothing else that stays the same. The only thing that stays the same is that nothing stays the same. Everything is always moving. And that's Einstein's law of relativity. That's metaphysics in a nutshell. That is what's going on. We're moving through time and space, and everything is vibrating. Everything is moving. Everything is evolving at a very minuscule micro level, down to the subatomic particle, all the way up to the physical manifestations of that, which would be this computer I'm speaking into, which would be my face and my jaw that's moving, my beard. Everything is vibrating. My jaw is moving, and you could see that. But beyond that, even deeper, even our cells are vibrating. I look solid. I'm actually a bunch of very small particles that are moving. And that's just reality as we know it. It's very difficult to explain to the average person who doesn't understand metaphysics and doesn't understand what I'm trying to explain. But essentially, reality is unfolding, and that unfolding is evolution. It is movement. It is a constant recycling of nature. Okay, energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only change. And so, the average person thinks that they're a victim to their circumstances, which is just unfortunate. It's so crazy. Like, I don't even know how to explain how insane that is. They think that, like, oh, the universe is happening to them, or they think that like events, that they're the victim of their events, and that they have to just whatever. But what they don't understand is it's the way that you perceive things, it's the way that you approach things, and it's the way that you respond to things. And it all starts with your mindset, seeing that essentially there's something the universe is trying to do to you. You have to allow that evolution to take place. It comes from a place of love. It comes from a place of inspiration. It comes from creation. Instead of trying to fix your problems, focus all of your energy on creating new things. The secret to change is spending all of your time creating and building new things rather than fixing the broken past. Okay? You have to let go of that. You have to let go in order for you to get higher. The only way to fly is to become lighter. So it's all about letting go. It's about detachment, because Buddha says attachment is the root of all suffering. All of these things are interconnected. They're all interconnected. They all work together. They all are intertwined. All these principles. It explains the nature of reality. It explains God. It explains pretty much everything that us as a human species are looking for. We're all looking for this evolution is what we're looking for. Not evolution in a biological sense, like, oh, we evolved from apes. Not that way. Not evolution in like evolution and technology. Not evolution as like protesting and all this nonsense. Evolution as an individual entity. Okay, an entity. I usually say entity, but the proper pronunciation is entity. Okay, as an individual entity, we are all creating. And just because you're in a relationship with somebody does not mean that you're going to be together forever. Just because you have a house, right? That's what's going on with me right now. Just because you have something of that nature that, you know, you've been living in for a long time, and you think you're going to have it forever. You got to let go of that. You got to be okay with losing these things. Everything's cool, and as long as you embrace that, you'll be fine. And of course, as a child we knew this, but we've been programmed to be scared. We've been programmed to be on the edge. We've been programmed to live outside of our element, live outside of our power. You know, everyone thinks that they have to, you know, be scared and be crazy and live belligerently. And everyone's scared of all these things, but you don't have to be scared. As long as you understand that the universe is working through you, everything's good. I mean, even like the Mayans and ancient civilizations that were possibly more advanced than we are, we don't know, over 10,000 years ago, they all lived in alignment with the universe in one way or another, living in alignment with the stars, living in alignment with all these things. Unfortunately, right now our society is going through this closed-minded, being attached to dogma type of attitude where if science hasn't proven something, then people are gonna, like, you know, like act like they're better than that anti-science stuff, as people would say, pseudoscience. And so they're closing themselves off to these ideas and things. The philosophy, people are too attached to finding solid facts, which the funny thing is, in reality, there is very little solid facts, okay? The things you can find with science are the closest to facts we can find, but even they are not 100% facts. And people who listen to this and they think, oh, what the hell are you talking about? Like, what the fuck? Are you stupid? Blah. I turned it off as soon as you said that. But, like, these people are not even scientists usually. They don't even actually understand science generally. They don't even read science. They don't have a degree, which is something that these people usually try to claim as credibility and yada yada. But they say these things so that they can dismiss them. Like, oh, it's pseudoscience garbage. It's nonsense because it's anti-scientific. Alignment with the stars, alignment with the universe. What are you talking about? Are you schizophrenic? Fucking quack. Blah, blah, blah. These are the same people. I mean, if you're thinking that way, then you're basically abiding by the same system of medicine, essentially, that tells you all your problems can be solved with a pill and treating your symptoms with a pill. And these pills cause more issues, and they need more pills for more symptoms, and it's a never-ending cycle of nonsense. That's only been around for 100 years, yet they call that science-based medicine. You know, it's just all a bunch of craziness when you think about these closed-minded science-based people. You know, the same thing goes for every area of dogma. Thinking that one diet is the healthiest, thinking that God is real, and thinking that God is not real. They're all wrong. They're all wrong, but they're all possibly right. But you don't know. It's an open-ended thing. You know, you have to be okay with not knowing facts. But regardless of all this crap, these is just basically all my thoughts after a long workout. I haven't eaten anything. I've been fasting for a long period of time. My mind is full of brain-derived neurotropic factor, which is just making my mind work so well. Effortless flow of efficient thoughts. Obviously no drugs. unless you count the gram of Siberian ginseng I took this morning, which obviously has nootropic benefits, but brain-derived neurotropic factor being released from my intense workouts that I had. I fucking left the gym over an hour ago. Anyway, the universe works through you, and you are moving through different realities, and the reality that you desire is there. You just have to match up with it. You have to just look at things as the universe working through you in a way. Kind of like how Christians say God works through you. It's crazy because when you actually start to embody this principle and you start to live in alignment with the universe, great things happen to you. And any possibilities of craziness, you know, things going wrong, they fly out the window once you gain alignment or whatever. It's a really fascinating and beautiful thing. And I'm overwhelmingly grateful. I'm extremely grateful to have found these things. So anyway, hope that somebody out there has benefited from this information. I feel like this is very important, and it should remove a lot of suffering from people's lives and allow them to see better days and better things. So if you have any questions or comments, post them down below. Let me know your thoughts, and I appreciate everyone. Talk to everyone soon. Subscribe if you have not already.